Under this tarp is one of the coolest Pintos in existence. This is our Pinto circle track car. I'm racing it at Rallycross Fest 2022. Well, I'm going to try to race it. It requires a lot of work, and I've got 2 weeks to get it done, along with life and work and everything else. So I have not touched it. I have a vague idea of what I need to do. So let's uncover it. That's the pattern for the front fender. It actually got to the point where I actually had the holes marked, where you drill it out and put the rivets. That is the quarter panel template or pattern. And there is the door pattern. Yeah, this was good, this big dent right here. So there's a spot in the back with square tubing. The night this car was crashed, I was sitting up there against the wall. They're trying to get they're trying to get Chris out of the car. I actually have the roof set up. There's 4 quarter-turn fasteners at the back, 4 wing nuts at the front, and the whole roof comes off. That was for a safety thing, just in case. I did that a few years earlier. Also made it kind of easier to work on the car with the roof off. But this firefighter comes up. I was over there at the car while they were working on getting him out on the board. And he asked me, he's like, can I step in this area right here? Can I step in this area right here? I said, well, there's bars here, 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 and at the back here. You can step in any of these areas and you'll be supported by bars. He took this guy took his boot, his size 13 boot, and just stuffs it right in the middle, right where I told him not to step. You gotta love the firefighters. All right, and the hood, yeah, this stuff's peeling. Paint's peeling pretty good. Maybe we'll run it in bare aluminum. There's a front bumper, that over there, roof. Actually, funny story, I'd put this around the windshield. In the high desert, it gets very bright, so I'd put this around the windshield to help block the sun. And Chris actually said he wanted this little section cut out, because that was his line of sight to the inside berm, so he could see the inside berm and how low he could go on the track. So we cut that out for him, so we'd have a better view of where he was going. Set the roof over here. This is a stock roof that has been slightly modified, and then slightly modified again with some rust. Oh, I love this car. I don't even have this Instant 10 anymore, it's junk. Okay, so I need a steering wheel. I did not plan for that. So if you watched the last video, you'll know I pressure washed all this when I took it all apart. And I got water in the engine. I changed oil about 4 or 5 times, oil and filter, to try and flush a lot of that out. Put some ATF in there. And I left the air filter not on correctly, so that was not smart on my part. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. I got a bolt missing there. I don't know, these, I've tried putting Loctite, I've tried everything on these exhaust bolts. They do come loose. You got to keep checking them. Stay on top of that. You can see with dirt track racing, I had a friend of mine tell me 2 hose clamps, because you never know when one's going to break or come apart. So I try to put 2 hose clamps at every connector. So the problem is, well, let's take a look. Let's take a look here. So here's the trunk. Fuel cell, I should probably check that because I got a feeling I'm probably gonna need some more foam for here. Oh wow. There's a AN fitting that has completely, it's just crumbling. I've never seen that before. There is a lot of rust and junk in there. So this is a lot more work than I had anticipated. I'm gonna have to clean all this out. Probably is the foam deteriorating? Okay, the foam feels like it's in pretty good shape. So what happens is when you run regular fuel in these and then you let them sit, I think it's the alcohol or whatever in the regular pump fuel actually eats away at this foam and it dissolves. And so the first time you go to race the following year, I should just replace this anyway. First time you go to race, you just pump chunks of foam through the fuel system, and the first race you don't finish because it's plugged with chunks of foam. That's not that much. I should just replace those anyway. That's just a good thing. I'm gonna have to get a new AN fitting since that one has dissolved. Should probably break apart this fuel system, make sure we're good there. I know this battery cable here is not, I know that's not gonna fly right there. So I'm gonna need to order a battery cable to go to there. Then I've got another cable, probably replace this one. This one's rusted up and is disintegrating as well. So run a small cable to there, another cable from here to the starter. So I'm gonna need to replace all that for sure. Secure some of the wires down here. Gonna need a steering wheel since that one's seen better days. I really wanted to replace the seat, but I'm looking at the cost of seats right now, and this one does not look too bad after that. We'll just have to clean this cover. I tried finding another cover, but Ultra Shield Race Products does not. Nobody makes a seat. Nobody has it. There's nothing. So I think I'm just gonna have to clean this cover. Maybe I can find some dye. Maybe re-dye it black. And then the seat belts aren't bad, but I know they're several years old. There's a lot of crusty stuff on it right there. So I'll definitely get another seat belt. Window net, they tend to dissolve too. They tend to get really brittle, so you can just tear them apart with your hand. So I think I have another window net I can put in. Because I'm racing this in rallycross with multiple sessions, I'm going to have to put an alternator on. That's for sure is going to have to happen. Beyond that, that's the major stuff. So I got to fix the fuel system, electrical system. Also, speaking of electrical system, usually once a year I'd have to clean all these terminals on this panel here and repaint that. I'm probably gonna have to do all that, although I kind of like the rusty look. And then these are just gauges or switches I got from O'Reilly's. They tend to fall apart after a few years of use, so I don't know if I'm gonna have to replace those or not. If I do, it's not a big deal. Oh, shift boot's coming apart. The biggest issue though is this front frame rail is bent. It's actually, I don't know if you can see it down here, it's actually bent over like this, and it's bent over like this. So I've fixed these before. In fact, I've done it in a matter of a couple of days, but it was a long couple of days. Usually what you have to do is cut this section out here, the whole outer panel, because there's more pieces of metal in here. You got to cut the outer panel out. You can actually see some paint chipped here. Cut the outer panel out. Take all the bracing out as much as you can. Oh wow, yeah, it's cracked. We got cracks all along here. All these tubes are going to have to come off. That's the first thing. You got to cut all these tubes are bent. You can see this one here. That one used to be straight. You can see how bad this impact was. I don't know if we're gonna have to strip all this suspension or not. More than likely, we're gonna have to do that. I hope all these ball joints and stuff are good. They got a boot missing. I'll need to get some boot for the tie rod end here, and some more clips. I like using these hairpin clips on stock cars because we replace this stuff so much. You just pull the clip out, put a new one in. You don't have to bend it over like the cotter pins. So today we're just gonna start tearing into this. I gotta find a window net. I have a brand new window net somewhere. The keyword is somewhere. I just gotta find it. I found my box. I think this is my box of leftover stock car parts. I do have a new window net, a red one, so that's good. I do have a new steering wheel pad. I did spend some time today. I got a new steering wheel coming. I ordered battery cables, 6 AN, 6 fitting. Hopefully that's what I need. I don't even know. MSD6 to GM dual connector wire harness. I don't know why I got that. I have a bunch of roll cage gussets. Some cutters there. More roll cage gussets. I think these are quarter turn fasteners, yeah. A lot of quarter turn fasteners. A lot of quarter turn fasteners. Oh, roll bar padding. I need more roll bar padding. I have none of that. Oh, let me get back online and order some of that next. My camera died, so I'm behind on a lot of stuff, but just to get you caught up, I ordered a lot of parts. I pulled a dipstick, and it looked like there's oil on it, but there's actually water. There's no oil on a dipstick, just a lot of water in there, so that's not a good sign. So before I even go any farther, I'm going to drain the oil here and see what that looks like, because this might put an end to this right now. Well, that does not want to come out. Oh, there we go, it's turning. Turning. Here we go. Oh, that is not a good sign right there. This is oil from my wife's car. I just did an oil change on it. Royal Purple with about 5,000 miles on it. Actually, a little less than 5,000 miles on it. So it's not clean new oil, but it'll hopefully dump it in, drop it out, and see, at least try to clean out some of the crud that's in there. And then I'm not sure what to do next. This might be the end of this end. There's 5 quarts. Actually, I think that was Motorcraft oil I put in there last time. It wasn't Royal Purple. But it only has less than 5,000 miles on it, a newer vehicle, so it shouldn't be that bad, but it should be a lot better than what was in there, which was just water. So let's see what kind of crud comes out this time. Okay, well, that looks better. It looks about like what went in, so that's a good sign. Got my wrench on here. Let's see if this is going to turn. Oh, ooh, she's locked up tight. Oh, I'll turn that way. All right. Well, turns that way. Yeah, only turns that way, right? Just not the other way. So I'm gonna pull these spark plugs out, and we'll drop some oil in there, and hopefully we can free this up. The next is put some fresh oil in. Try to get this so we can turn it over. It should turn over both ways without any issues. So I don't know why it's spinning one way, but I don't know. I'll try to break some of this loose. The carburetor. It's not looking good either. It's got water down it somehow. I don't know how any of this water got in here. This has been covered under a tarp after the last time I started it. The throttle is seized, but I don't want to dump that junk down there anyway, so this carburetor is going to have to come off so I can get it at least cleaned out. And then you can take a look, and we can take a look down the intake as well and see how that looks. So let me get these spark plugs out and I'll put some oil in there. I do have a spare short block for this, and I do have another cylinder head. I was saving those for a rainy day though, and I certainly don't have time to put them in now before Rallycross Fest. So I'm not ready to give up on this yet, but I'm getting there. All right, those a little crusty, but not as bad as I would think if there was if they were sitting in water for a couple of years. So that is a gooder sign. Still not great, but better than that one. Actually looks, that one looks really good actually. That's got no crustiness on it at all. That looks like it was just fired yesterday. So I don't know how water, oh, that one is full of water. And that one looks really good too. So yeah, you can see that's probably why I couldn't bring it up, the number 3 there. As soon as I pulled the plug out, it was like a geyser. So let me turn this over, see if we can get some of that water out. That's probably why it would only turn one way so far. I'm not really sure how the water got in there because this was stored with no water in the engine. Oh, no, that's it. That's all it'll turn that way. Try turning back. Yeah, there we go. Spitting some of that out. Nope. Well, all of these actually have water in them. So I think we fire up the air compressor, try to blow as much of that out as we can. So somehow water got in the carburetor. I don't know how that's possible, and a lot of water got in the engine. Since this has been sitting under a tarp since the last time I ran it. I can't even remember a time when the tarp got blown off, but if it did, the hood was still on there. I don't know how this could have happened. Well, this isn't really what I wanted, but it's what I could locate. And must have a kink in the hose. Well, I know the number 3 intake's open. And unfortunately, this head has a lot of custom work, so it's not really replaceable. And we still got water in there. The blower nozzle did not work very good. Yep, that's pretty crusty. Let's see if we can let's flood this. I'm using ATF +4. I'm guessing the +4 is for rust. But we're gonna flood this with ATF. Just keep pouring it in. I'm gonna put some in each of these. I should just flood each of these actually. And then let these sit. See if we can work this back and forth a little bit, and then probably let it sit overnight or sit for a little while. Oh boy, I should protect my, oh man, we're making it rain. Oh yeah. Well, got a little bit farther, and I am just got an ATF shower. Oh, gotta get that water out of there. Oh, I think we're spinning it now. Yeah. So yesterday, as I put my phone on the charger, I came back out here and decided to do a little more because I got to keep going on this because I don't have time to get behind. And the story on this engine and this car really just kept getting worse. So last night, I canceled all the parts. I ordered all the parts that I could to get this fixed. And I signed up with the Jeep for Rallycross Fest. I can fix this engine. I can fix the car. I just can't fix both in time for the race. And this engine's been covered by a tarp and it's been outside. It's been covered, the whole car's, but the engine's been covered by a tarp and the hood. The car's been covered by a tarp, but there's just, there's too much water's got into the engine and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. So let me show you some of the stuff that I found yesterday after I turned the camera off. So we know there was water in the cylinders. I was able to break the engine free to get it to turn. I pulled the valve cover off. The valve train actually looks pretty good. There's a little bit of rust on top of some of the rocker arm towers, but nothing too bad. It looks like the valves are opening and closing completely. But the intake manifold that was over here was completely full of water. So all the valves look like they're opening and closing completely, which is good. They're not getting stuck open, which is, I was kind of worried about it. You get some rust on the valve stems and the valves will hang open. And with this race engine, we'll definitely bend a valve that way. But it looks like they are closing completely, so that's a good sign. I'm a little bit worried that the valve seats may have some pitting from rust, but I can't know that until I take the head off and take it apart, which I don't want to do if I can avoid it. I pulled the distributor cap off. Some of the parts there. But the carburetor was rusted up solid. I got it cleaned up. I got it mostly working. I'll probably dump some WD-40 on here to get this to work right, but this needs to come apart. And you can see the butterflies have rust on them. And there's the bottom. So I got to get this cleaned up for sure. That's got to happen before I fire this engine up. And then I didn't even take the float ball off. I don't know what I'll find in there. The intake manifold was full of water. You can see it's got some rust or corrosion in there. I pressure washed it yesterday, but it still needs to be cleaned out better before we can put that back on. Some things I found with the car too was when we put the body panels on, we riveted them right to the roll cage. Well, in rallycross or rally racing, that's a no-no. So all these holes where we riveted these interior panels to the roll bar probably are going to need to be welded up. I forgot all about this. This is a front A-pillar bar on the roll cage, and that bar got punched by the side bar here. It's on one point. So I originally had these bars set up at an angle, and I don't remember why I made them straight, but that was why I was worried making them straight. It just punches the roll cage and bends it. There's no triangulation there, and that's what happened. So that bar is going to have to be replaced. And I'm thinking I can just cut it. I'm thinking I can just cut it and probably sleeve it, straighten it out, heat it up, straighten it out, sleeve it, or I can even cut that bar out and replace it. Either way, this body needs to come off. There's several The crush panels in here are pretty mangled, but I can pound that out. Same with this door. I can pound most of this door out in a quarter panel. Last time I ran this and did the burnout, I broke the rear leaf spring mount. I forgot about that. That's not too big of a deal. I can pound that out and replace this stud here with a bolt. Again, not a big deal. Just there's just too many little problems with this car for me to get it done in time, unfortunately. So I cannot race this at Rallycross. I just don't have the time to fix it all. It would take far too long to get this fixed. Seat, I pulled the seat out, got it cleaned. It's a mess. I just don't have time to deal with all the issues of this car. I'm gonna have to get back to it in probably after No Name Nationals. So for right now, I got a couple hours to put the engine back together. I gotta put the car back together, put the tarp back over it, probably wrap the engine in some kind of plastic or something to try to protect it. But that is the end of this for now. To be continued.